Hello everyone, it's ECNY29 and welcome back to My Team Career Mode. This is episode 2 today for the Austrian Grand Prix in Season 1. Have you guys watched the first race of Bahrain? It was a tight battle against Alonso and Lance Stroll in the Aston Martins as we go into 5 red lights for the Austrian Grand Prix in Season 1. And it's go, and it's a pretty slow start from us with Felipe Drugovich, our teammate, qualified 21st. Max Verstappen on pole once again in the Red Bull racing car with teammate Sergio Perez on the front row. Then the Ferraris, the Mercs, the Alpines, the McLarens, and the Valtteri Bottas in P11 as we almost spun it down at turn 1. And as we go onto the straights, behind Felipe Drugovich, about 1 second off our teammate in the other My Team car, of course. As we go into the next corner with no issues, braking to this corner. As we're using ERS down the straight, trying to catch up to Felipe Drugovich, but I don't think the speed is enough, at least for the straight line. We do get closer as we go for the dive bomb round the outside of Felipe as we get into P21. But Drugovich gets back up into P21 as we're back down to last place. That was good battle there with Felipe, but we're still stuck in dead pass at the moment in this start of this Austrian GP, with I think Max Verstappen still leading the way as we get past Felipe Drugovich as Max Verstappen still leads the way in the Red Bull, I think, as we defend off Drugovich, trying to catch Nick de Vries in the AlphaTauri car as Drugovich wants to dive down the inside, but nope. As we get Nick de Vries and make contact with Alexander Albon, more contact with Alexander Albon in the Williams. As we go into lap 2 of this GP as Drugovich is pressurizing us back there in the yellow ECNY29 racing car. As we go on into turn 1, almost slamming the side of Nick de Vries in the AT04. As the Dutchman trying to get the tie of Alex Albon, we're trying to get de Vries as Drugovich is still pressurizing us in the other ECNY car. And we go into the next corner with no issues, defending off our position from Drugovich as we almost spin it down the corner. And we're trying to catch de Vries with about 0.8 of a second off the AlphaTauri car. As Drugovich is still pressurizing us, he goes for the dive bomb. We defend the position very hard indeed as we're now on the back of Nick de Vries. But de Vries still got the position as we use ERS trying to increase the speed to get de Vries round the outside. Ooh, that was close, almost being in contact with the Dutchman. But we get up into P20, trying to get Logan Sargent as we make contact with the American in the Williams car. As Sergio Perez now leads this race as we defend our position as we crash into Logan Sargent. We defend our position from Nick de Vries and we get past both Williams cars in Logan Sargent and Alexander Albon up to P18. We're trying to catch Yuki Tsunoda now in the other AlphaTauri. But here comes the Williams cars as we defend off the Williams cars. We almost make contact with Yuki Tsunoda with that dive bomb. And we're still in P18. As there goes Alex Albon. Here comes Logan Sargent as we defend the position from the American. But here goes Nick de Vries. I went back down to 20th place. There's Logan Sargent. Past us as well in the Williams car. We're down to 21st. But we're going to make a dive bomb around the outside. And we're back up into 20th place. Nick de Vries in front of us now in the AlphaTauri. As we defend off our position from the Williams, there goes Logan Sargent up into 20th place. We're down to 21st. But Drugovich wants to go for it as we make contact with Sargent as we go into the grass or the gravel there in that corner. Drogovic was trying to move, but we ultimately defend. Here goes Drogovic again for another move. I've gone wide, but we still keep ourselves in front of the Brazilian in the other My Team East UIL1 car. As we're now in lap 4 of this Austrian GP, we're down in 21st place, in front though of our teammate Felipe Drogovic. As that was close to comfort as he smashed in the back of Logan Sargent, but no damage. Fortunately, no damage on our car as we continue on. As De Vries is trying to hunt a move around the outside of Sargent, but doesn't work as we slam into the back of De Vries. As there's damage on our car, but there's little damage, so I think we can still stay out. We don't need to pit. But there will be dry period soon, so we'll still have to pit for the hard compound tires. I think hard is the most recommended tire for this long stint as we defend off Drogovic. Almost gone wide there. As we use ERS trying to get some speed off and some speed and off our car and slipstream off Nick De Vries, but nope, we close it halfway as we're gonna break around the final corner, almost crashing into Nick De Vries, and we're gonna go. That's not the final corner, but it looks like the final corner, but it's not. Anyway, so we get past Nick De Vries, trying to get Logan Sargent as we round the inside or down the inside as we get past Logan Sargent, the American driver, in the Williams, and we're back up into 19th place. So we almost got wide as we're now trying to catch the Thai Brit of Alexander Albon. There in the other Williams as we're gonna go behind Albon, trying to get some slipstream off the Williams. Almost gone into the pits, but we don't need to go into the pits for now, as Max Verstappen now regains lead from his teammate Sergio Perez, as Verstappen leads from Perez gets back the lead away from Verstappen. There's a ding-dong battle there with the two Red Bulls, and Perez leads from Verstappen, Leclerc and Sainz, and Russell, Hamilton, Gasly, Ocon, and then I think Lando Norris, in the McLaren, and then Oscar Piastri and Valtteri Bottas, I think, rounding out the top 10. As we defend off our position from Logan Sargent as we go wide, doing in that corner. Here comes Logan. He does have a pretty good run. We're not really squeezing him out, that he gets past us up into P19, goes the American, but we're going to go around the outside and we're back up into 19th place. It is Norris, Piastri and then Bottas, but Bottas is outside the points, so it's the two Red Bulls, the two Ferraris, the two Mercedes, the two Alpines and the two McLarens rounding out the top 10 in this Austrian GP. As we're on lap 6 as we've gone wide in that corner, trying to catch up to Yuki Tsunoda, the other AlphaTauri. Not really close enough, but we're gonna use I'm gonna use some slipstream of the Japanese driver as Yuki gets past Alexander Albon in the Williams, and up to 17th goes the Japanese driver as we get past the Thai Brit of Alex Albon, and we're up into 18th. Now behind Yuki Tsunoda, Japanese driver, as we get slipstream of Yuki, we are going to go for the move around the outside of the Japanese driver, and we're up into 17th place. Now chasing off the returning Nico Hülkenberg in the Haas. Both Alexander Albon and Yuki Tsunoda passed us, but we're gonna go past the Japanese and try and go for a move on the Thai Brit, making contact with the Williams driver, and we're up into 18th place now, trying to catch Albon, as Tsunoda pressurizing us in that corner, but we keep hold of P18. Sorry, around the outside of Alexander Albon, and we're up to 17, but Albon pressurizing us as he goes for the move. We're gonna squeeze the way in, but he gets past us, but we're gonna go back past him. It's almost, I think, dry period coming up in 1 or 2 laps, so the pit window is now opened for us as we're chasing after Nico Hülkenberg in the Haas. There, but Hülkenberg is pretty quick, but behind his teammate Kevin Magnussen, as we are trying to catch Hülkenberg, but Nico is quick, plus we were about 4 seconds behind, so we do need to pick up the speed in this car to try and catch Nico Hülkenberg. As we perfectly made that corner, but the tie Brit Alex Albon's we've gone wide, as we've gone wide again in those, and we've gone wide again. This is mistake a lot in those parts for me, as we're trying to catch Hülkenberg. We still can't catch Hülkenberg, as we are now much closer to Nico. We see his rear light, as you can see the Haas up the road of Hülkenberg. So we are now going closer and closer, getting the slipstream of Nico Hülkenberg, as we are down to the final corner, close but not quite of Nico Hülkenberg, as we got pulled back away from Nico Hülkenberg. Now, as we got a personal best lap time, which is a very good thing. Hülkenberg's running away at this point. We're trying to catch Hülkenberg, as Yuki Tsunoda, Alexander Albon, and Logan Sargent pitting. I think it's a double stack down there at Williams, as they all go on to into compound. I think it's almost dry conditions, so I think we'll box on the end of lap 8. Same pitting for Nick De Vries as well, and I think Felipe Drogovic also a pit in the ECNY car, as there's suddenly dry conditions, as we are very much screwed along with a lot of the front cars, but we are gonna try and keep ourselves in front of Albon, who is going to be much closer to us, but it's dry conditions, so every driver at the pit again. And it's my first stop at the Grand Prix. Hope it's my last stop at the Grand Prix, as you can see most of the front runners coming in. Verstappen and Leclerc stay out, Perez comes in, Hamilton stay out, Sainz comes in, and we now finally catch up on the back of Hülkenberg, as we are going to go around the outside of Nico Hülkenberg, and we perfectly put our car in front of the Haas and the other Haas of Kevin Magnussen, and we're now coming in for our first and maybe only pit stop of the race. And there's Lance Stroll out of his pit box, and we are now coming in for the set of hard compound tires. Perfect, so the team, as we come out in front of the Haas of Magnussen, as we are in P16 now, in front of Kevin Magnussen, but behind Nico Hülkenberg. I think Hülkenberg stay out, as we're now hitching Lance Stroll on the mediums. Magnussen just overtook us off track, as Tsunoda and Albon come in. Albon comes in for the softs, same as Yuki coming in for the softs as well. As we gain we got DRS off Kevin Magnussen. Drogovic comes in for another stop, as I think now Charles Leclerc and Lewis Hamilton come in. I think Max Verstappen will go around the outside of Kevin Magnussen, back up in the 16th place, as Esteban Ocon comes in as well. I'm assuming Piastri, Alonso, and Hülkenberg will come in on this lap, along with Sargent and De Vries, as there's Ocon and Piastri coming in. Sorry, as we're now on lap 10 of this GP. Perez leads from Sainz and Russell, Verstappen down to 4th, as Zhou Guanyu also coming in Alfa Romeo as we round the outside of Nico Hülkenberg, as Fernando Alonso coming in as well in the Aston Martin car, and we're now up into P13 of this GP on lap 10. We'll span it, and I think it's Lance Stroll in front of us. Hülkenberg comes out, I think, in 17th place. Yep, he does come out in 17th place, as we're trying to catch Lance Stroll in the Aston Martin and Oscar Piastri in the McLaren Mercedes car, as Logan Sargent comes in for a second stop along with Nick De Vries, I think 4, as Sargent puts on the medium compound tires, same as De Vries. They're both down to 20th and 21st. So another great race for the Williams and the AlphaTauri driver, with Drogovic in dead loss at the moment, which is definitely not a good race for the Brazilian. And we are up here in P13 trying to catch Lance Stroll, and we're now on the back of Lance Stroll, round the outside of the Canadian, behind the Australian of Oscar Piastri. Here comes Lance Stroll. Whoa, we almost crashed in the back of Lance Stroll. We set the fastest lap of the Grand Prix, as we're now gonna trying to get slipstream off the Canadian in the Aston Martin now, and we are trying to catch Stroll, but he is going faster and faster, and we are now 2 seconds behind, I think, the Canadian, as now Perez still leads from Sainz. Verstappen gets past Russell, Leclerc and Gasly, Hamilton, Russell, Ocon, and Valtteri Bottas rounding out the top 10. And we are now getting much closer now to Lance Stroll in the Aston Martin, with 5 laps to go in this Grand Prix. There's Lance Stroll as we go down the inside. I thought we made contact with the Canadian, but we didn't. That was close to comfort. But here comes Lance Stroll as he gets back past us. He's up to 12. We're back down to 13th, and we're now gonna go for another move down the inside of the Canadian, DRSing behind the Australian of Oscar Piastri, with DRS deployed in that short period of time. And we're now gonna go for the move, but that doesn't work out, as Piastri keeps hold of his P11 position. We are still in P12 with the fastest lap of the race at the moment, as Stroll still trying to go for the move, but we defend off the Aston Martin Canadian man, as Lance Stroll is still pressurizing us. As he goes past us, we make contact with the Aston Martin, as Lance Stroll, I think, hit us. And there's Zhou Guanyu creeping over there, as we almost hit the back of Lance Stroll, but come out unscathed. We're having more contact with the Canadian, as we are now gonna go for the move down the inside of Lance Stroll, and we're now up into 12th place finally after a whole lap of fight against the Aston Martin. Our next objective is P11 in Oscar Piastri. There's Oscar up the road there. We are very close to Oscar, but are we able to go for the move at turn 1? That's the big question. I don't think it's enough, because I think I'm too far off. Yes, I am too far off, but we're gonna go for the move now with DRS open. But Piastri despite doesn't have DRS open, the speed of the McLaren does have higher speed than us. So Piastri keeps hold of that position of this race. Whoa, that was close to confirm. We almost hit the wall there. And we're now looking DRS behind Piastri, so he's gone wide as Perez still leads this race, and he takes the fastest lap away from us. As we are going to almost go for the move, but Piastri defends the position as we've gone wide. We are trying to keep the car stable as possible. As we are going a little sheepish around that little corner, but we keep the car stable. Piastri is still very close to us as we're going to go on the final corner, but it's not enough, and we're going to almost go for Piastri on the main straight, but Piastri keeps hold of his position from us. So he's in P11, we are still in P12. Brake on turn 1 as Guan Yu Zhou is ahead of Lance Stroll, of course. I think they're dueling for position with Fernando Alonso about a couple of seconds behind his teammate, surprisingly. As we're now still trying to get Oscar Piastri. Piastri's running away with this as we've gone wide, as Perez is starting lap 15 of the race. I'm still at lap 14. So, I'm not a lap down though, because I didn't get lapped by the Red Bull driver. But Perez starts lap 15 as we hit the wall. What happened there? I think I locked up the brakes and hit the wall. Guan Yu Zhou gets past us, not that much damage in the car, thankfully. As we keep all the position from Lance Stroll, as we're going to use ERS to center it on Guan Yu Zhou as we get past the Chinese driver. But I think Zhou makes some contact with us as he gets past us up into P12 for the Chinese driver. We're going to center it around the outside, and so we are starting lap 15 of this Grand Prix for us as we are in P12. My objective is for points this race, and Valtteri Bottas is there at the moment in the point in P10. A couple of seconds clear of Oscar Piastri, who has 2 seconds clear of me, which I have 2 seconds more clear of Guan Yu Zhou. So we are getting closer and closer now to Oscar, but Oscar is still pretty much quicker as he is closer, I think, to Valtteri Bottas as well. Could this be Oscar Piastri's debut points, I think, this race? Could it be his debut points? I don't know. I'm not pretty sure, but here we come. Behind Piastri, as we are going to send it, and we lap Nick de Vries in the AlphaTauri. The first driver getting lapped in this race is the AlphaTauri of Nick de Vries. It's not a good race for AlphaTauri with Tsunoda in 19th and de Vries in 22nd. So AlphaTauri is having another bad race with them in last place at the moment in the drivers or in the constructors world championship, as we set the fastest lap in P11. Behind the points sits Valtteri Bottas as we're gonna go for the points, but Bottas makes some contact with our wheel, but he keeps up with the position in the Alfa Romeo stake. Of course, every single team this year is having a new car because of the little regulation change, as we almost crashed into the wall there. Like a little regulation change to make the car a little bit more thinner, and the rear wing more of a smaller rear wing to last to 2022's rear wing, of course, if you remember in my career mode for the first 6 races. So of course Spain is up next in that career mode, as we're going to go for the move on Valtteri Bottas, so we get up into 10th place, but Bottas is still going the move as he gets past us. So basically the regulation change made the rear wing more thinner as we lap our own teammate and Logan Sargent. So we are, I think, almost starting last lap. I think we are still on lap 16 though, as Logan unlaps himself, but not for long as we go for the move. Our tires are a little warmed up, but that's alright because there's only like 2 laps to go, so I think I'm not gonna waste time to pit because my tires are still alright. As Lando Norris is now up the road in the McLaren in 9th place. I wonder if we can catch Lando Norris for 9th place. Maybe Sergio Perez wins the Austrian Grand Prix. Another victory for Red Bull Racing, but this time it's Checo who wins from Verstappen and then Sainz on the podium. Then Russell, Leclerc, Hamilton, Ocon, Gasly. We are still trying to catch Lando Norris, but Norris in 9th and us in 10th at the moment. As Russell crossed the line in 4th place with Sainz in 3rd. We are waiting for the rest of the drivers to cross the line. I think there's Charles Leclerc and Lewis Hamilton. Yep, Charles Leclerc and Lewis Hamilton. We're gonna go for the move on Lando Norris, and we make contact as we hit the wall. Norris gets back up into the 9th place. We almost stayed in the pit, but this is it. We get more points. We got 2 points. P10 and the fastest lap of the Grand Prix. P10 for us. Drogovic is a pretty disappointing race for the Brazilian, 20th place. As there it is, 10th place, fastest lap. As Perez wins from Verstappen, Sainz, Russell, Leclerc, Hamilton, Ocon, Gasly, Norris, and us rounding out the top 10. This is the end of the video. Hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Goodbye.